Hey Drew in Denver, Colorado. Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I'm going to show you how I cut prescription lenses for your RayBan 5150. What is this? It is size 50, color 2034, which is the black crystal. So, it comes with a RayBan case. You ordered this frame for $140 and you're about to get free prescription lenses. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm taking out the demo lenses, and I will send you these. You get all the original manufacturer's packaging that they send, that RayBan sends to me. So I'm putting your Italian frame into my Italian edger. It's a Santinelli LE1000 patternless edger. And it is now tracing the shape of your left lens, and then it's going to pop over and trace the shape of your right lens. Now you are getting the thinner, lighter weight. Your polycarbonate lenses are 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. They are unbreakable and they are bulletproof up to 22 caliber and have both UVA and UVB protection. Because here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, when you buy the frame, you're going to get free single vision lenses. And everybody loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. So, set your frame back down. I'm going to pull up the shape of your lens onto the computer. Type in your pupillary distance of, wait, I got to flip the card over, 68.5, you know, which is funny, that is the same as your frame PD, which is automatically going to make your lenses thinner in this frame than any other. I'll explain that in a little bit, but for starters, let me take your lenses out. These are an aspheric polycarb lens. I'm going to put this in. I'm going to spin my axis wheel to 166. Spin the power drum to a -1. Put your lens in, rotate it, and now's a good time for you to comment on how dusty the top of my Marco 101 lensometer is. I got your optical center, got everything lined up right. Check the cross curve, which is your astigmatism correction, which I will explain in a little bit. I've got some dots on there. I'm actually going to strengthen them, make them a little bit darker. That is the right lens. Put that in the blocker. Let's get your left lens ready. -1 1/4, -50 at 158. Spin the axis wheel to 158. The power wheel to 1 1/4. Line everything up. Check your astigmatism correction. Put some dots on here. They're not dark enough for you to see, so I'm going to put some bigger ones on there with my pen. Now I'm going to put there's a block that holds your lens in place while it is cutting. I'm going to need to put a double-sided adhesive sticker on there, and they fell off inside. Don't they know this is live TV? Okay, the show must go on. So this is a double-sided little sticky adhesive from 3M. The black side is the sticky side. I'm going to put that on there, peel off this side, and now I've got this double-sided tape exposed. Line up your lenses in the crosshairs, and actually, let me see if you can actually see this through what I'm looking at. Put that double-sided sticker on there. Hopefully you can see that red dot. You can see the graph, the charts like the crosshairs of a scope. I'm going to line your lens up so that red dot in the center, your optical center, is lined up perfectly on there. Drop the block down. I may have to orient my... Oh, let's put the right lens in. Let's put the right lens in. Okay, so I'm putting that into the Chuck. Hey, Chuck. Charles, forgive me. I don't know you well enough. And the LMU is going to come down and trace the shape of your frame, your shape of your lens, onto the lens to make sure that it is correct size. Now, the cutting wheel is actually this wheel at the very bottom. It's the lighter color of the 3 wheels. This will grind away most of your lens. This wheel in the center will actually put the channel or a bevel on there so it stays in the frame. The wheel on the right is a polishing wheel. But I don't like to polish. A lot of the times it lets in extra glare, and my goal is to make you see as well as possible. So this is going to get loud, and I'll have to close the door in a moment, but I want you to see your lens strike the cutting wheel. And there we go. So, let me get back and explain something. Your lenses are like a bowl. It's thin in the center, thicker at the edges. I don't know if you can see that, but when this is lined up, your optical center is dead center in front of your pupil, that red dot that's on the back of the lens. Now, if your prescription were stronger, you would have thicker lenses. Of course, these are the thinner, lighter weight lenses. but I have to decenter the lens in or out so that it's right in front of your eye. If I have to move it inward, you would have a thicker portion right here. Of course, nothing's going to be seen in this frame anyway, but because your pupillary distance matches the frame's pupillary distance, as we call it, the frame PD of 68.5, the thinnest part of the lens is going to be centered right there. I don't have to move it where the thicker parts are shown. Now, your prescription, let me turn this over so no one can see your name and address, phone number, email, all that stuff. Your prescription from right reads, your right eye leads from left to right. Your left eye is on the bottom, -1, -50 at 166. Your left eye is -1 1/4, -50 at 158. In the optical world, the optical profession, everything is in quarter increments. 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1, 1 1/4, on up to infinity, essentially. At least plus 20 is what my lensometer goes to. So if I were to cover that up, being a -1, again, everything's in quarter increments. You're on the 4th rung of a ladder. You need 4 steps of correction. Not to magnify. You're not a hyperope. You are a myope. You are myopic, which means that you see great up close, but you need help for far away. And you need 4 steps of correction to actually minify without your glasses on. Now, we've actually got the shape of your lens. Now it's going to put the bevel on there so it stays in the frame. And if you notice, there's water running in the background. A polycarbonate lens cuts dry, and in just a moment, water is going to splash on there to clean it. And I'll have to close the door then. But so without your glasses on, you actually need, everything is too large in real life. So when you put your glasses on, it shrinks it down to the correct size. That's what this was, the -1, the 4 steps. Now the second box is your astigmatism correction for the right eye. At 0.50, you only need 2 steps, 0.25, 0.50, that is it. This first box gets everything the correct size. The second box takes away the fuzzy edges. With astigmatism correction, or without it, P's and F's look alike. With numbers, 6's and 8's look alike. With this correction, everything will be clear. Now this last number being 166, that is arbitrary on a horizon line where 0 at one end, 180 at the other. We're just tuning that knob to fine-tune things, and we're going to have it at 166, which could be over here or over there, depending on how you look at it. All right, back to work. I'm going to take your lens out. I'm going to leave that down there because I'm actually tinting some lenses for some Gucci's that I have to cut next. Someone mailed me their Gucci's and they want an amber color lens, so I'm putting some tint on there. So I dried your lens off just so it's not slippery. There's a little bit of rough edges still after it's cutting, so I'm going to use my handstone and put on there what's known as the safety bevel. And if you can see, this is actually Schwarf that I will scrape off. It's optical sawdust that I will scrape off with my thumbnail, and I do this so much I've worn a V-shaped bevel into my thumbnail. Of course, those of you who are fans of mine, you see me wipe that onto the counter and then wipe it onto the floor. I love saying this part, kids. I am a professional. I went to school for years to learn how to wipe things on the floor. Don't expect to be able to do it on your first day. Now, to check the size, I tuck the lens in at the outside corner and with my thumbs pushed down, and I can actually get it in there, but I'm going to go ahead and start cutting the left lens. I'm going to take this down a little bit smaller. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm actually going to bring it down about 1/10 of a millimeter and hit start. Now it's going to trace the left lens, which is the opposite shape of this on there. If I flip that over, that will be your left lens. The shape of it, at least. You've seen all this before, so I'm going to go ahead and keep working on your right lens while your left lens cuts. I'm going to take this block off. Now, I could use the machine to make it a little bit smaller, but I'm going to go old school since I've got the tools here, and this terrifies most opticians. Well, for one, most opticians don't cut their own lenses. 95% of all optical shops ship their stuff out to a third party. They're just order takers, literally like McDonald's. They take your order, have someone else do the work, add their middleman fee on. Well, McDonald's cooks all their own food, but essentially they're just taking orders. They're not going to cut your lens. They're going to tell you to come back in 10 to 14 days, and if there's something wrong with your lenses, they'll send them back and tell you to come back in another 10 to 14 days. Even though your lens, and if I give it a strong tug, will pop in, I don't like it being in there that snug, so I'm going to pop your lens back out, and I'm going to take it down by hand just a little bit, I'm going to go all the way around the lens. You see the little optical sawdust, the Schwarf. By the way, Schwarf is a real word. When my professors first used it, I did not believe it. Look, wipe it on the floor. Wipe it on the floor, kids. You know what, Swiffer, you need to come along and offer me a free Swiffer so I can endorse your product. But again, I tuck it in at the outside corner, push down at the nose, and it's actually still a little bit of give. So I'm going to go one more time. Take this down by hand a little bit. See if I can improve that bevel. Scrape off this residue. Now pop this into the frame. I start at the outside corner, and with my thumbs I push down, and that's a much better fit. The way it pops out, much easier. It'll never fall out, but the problem is if I ever cut a lens large, it stretches your frame in all directions. And think of this as a gutter, this bevel that is in there. When it's too large, it's called rolling, where your lens will bend outward and make it easier for your lens to fall out, which is no good. So now I'm going to double check your prescription. I'm going to spin the axis wheel back to 166. Put it in there. I'm going to put this red dot right in front of my viewing area on my Marco 101 lensometer, and everything checks out perfect. That is -1. I checked the 2 steps of astigmatism correction. That comes down to -150. This is the part that makes my high school algebra teacher happy when I tell him I'll never use algebra on my job. Well, thanks to the field I picked, I do. If someone owed you $1 and then they owed you 50 cents more, you would have 150. That is what I'm getting in the total power. So your left lens is cutting, and one thing I do ahead of time, I go ahead and spin the axis wheel to 158 because I know that's coming next, and then I'll check the powers of that. So the lens is finished cutting, and it's actually putting the bevel on there. This whole process takes about 15 minutes, Drew. It is 8:35 now, Wednesday, February 19th, 65 degrees in my hometown, according to my Samsung Gear watch, my hometown of Durham, North Carolina. Drew, if memory serves correct, you are actually in Denver, Colorado. I think it's a little bit cooler there. I'm sorry to what happened to your Broncos during the Super Bowl. If they played that game 10 times, they would not get that same outcome. So, sorry, as I reposition, I apologize if any of these are out of focus or out of shot. I'm a professional licensed optician. I am not a professional cinematographer. I am prone to missing the shot because I'm distracted. You know, I'm here working. I can't concentrate on shooting a video. So I'm going to take the lens out of the chuck, dry it off so I'm not allowed to drop this on live TV. Put the bevel on there. Scrape off the Schwarf. And again, when I first heard that term, I called BS. I literally raised my hand and told the teacher, I'm calling BS. She opened up the textbook, which I had not been reading as thoroughly as I should have, and sure enough, it was there. So I'm going to pop the lens in. Start at the outside corner, use my thumbs to push it in. Fits perfectly. Actually, while I'm here, let me check the tint for these lenses. I got to send a picture to the guy to let him know that these are amber enough. This is essentially a 9-tank unit. One of them is filled with bleach, one of them is filled with UV. But each compartment, this is gray, brown, violet, blue, yellow, pink, and so on, amber. And I'm actually going to just test this to see if these are yellowish amber enough, and I don't think they are, so I'm going to put this back in and let it soak a little bit more. These are still very yellow. These were clear just a moment ago, just like your lenses are, but I put them in the tint tank, and using the hot dye, slowly but surely they will tint. So, let me take the block off of your left eye. I need to hurry up because YouTube only allows 20 minutes for their videos. Now, the axis wheel is at 158. Put the red dot in. Check that. -1.25. -50. I'm getting -175. That is perfect. Let me pull this up. You have a PD of 68.5. I'm going to use my PD stick. I'm going to put this is your right lens. If you would turn that around, I'm putting 0 there. And then with the left eye, you can see 68.5. So that checks out perfect. One more thing I'm going to do before shipping it to you. is make sure this is in what's known as standard alignment. I set it on the counter and make sure that nothing wobbles. Flip it over, do the same thing. You are ready to go. I'm going to use my optical grade acetone to clean your lenses off. The red dots that I have on there, now that I've measured your pupillary distance, I do not need that there anymore. I'm going to get everything wrapped up, packaged up, and shipped out. Of course, you get free shipping anywhere in the continental U.S., which I believe Denver still is. Get this wrapped up, boxed up. I do appreciate it. You could have bought your frames from anyone, but instead you bought them from the guy who's going to give you free prescription lenses. Hey, I can't fault you for that. But I do appreciate it, Drew. You've given me the opportunity to help me chase my dreams, and hopefully you've had fun watching this, and you can see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.